Korean restaurant just committed what any American business consultant would call complete financial suicide. You sit down. You order a $20 meal. 5 minutes later, 2 servers walk out carrying a massive wooden table already packed with 35 separate dishes and literally slide the entire tabletop directly over your existing table. You didn't ask for this. You didn't order it. There are only 2 of you, meaning it is physically impossible to finish even 10% of what is in front of you. And then the check arrives. You look at the bottom line, waiting for the hidden charges, the service fees, or the mistake. Nothing. $20. Total. To a Western mind, this isn't just weird. It looks like an economic malfunction, a complete failure of basic math. So you ask the owner, how do you make a profit? She looks at you, smiles, and walks away without answering. In Korea, they don't call this bad business. They have a phrase for it that sounds more like a threat than a dining style. 상다리가 부러지다. It literally means to load a table until it's 4 legs. Snap completely in half. Now, if you think this is just one crazy restaurant trying to get attention, it gets weirder. Fly 7,000 miles across the Pacific, land in Paris or New York, and walk into a 3-star Michelin restaurant. What are you actually paying $500 for? You receive an ice-white plate the size of a car tire. Sitting right in the center is a single, perfectly seared scallop, lightly drizzled with a microscopic reduction. In the West, high status is built on empty space. The bigger the plate, the smaller the portion, the higher the price tag. Empty space signals control, luxury, and refined efficiency. Now, look back at the table in Korea. The empty space doesn't exist. It has been aggressively hunted down and wiped out. The server brings out sizzling short ribs, a bubbling granite pot of kimchi stew, and a whole grilled yellow croaker. But then the real assault begins. A relentless, unending wave of side dishes floods the table. Pickled radishes, seasoned mountain ferns, rolled omelets, marinated raw crab, braised potatoes, fermented beans, cold cucumber soup. When the table runs completely out of bare wood, the server doesn't stop. They start stacking small ceramic bowls directly on top of other bowls, building a 2-story architecture of food right in front of your face. And then comes the twist that breaks every Western brain in the room. You finish a dish. You stack the empty bowl to make room. 2 seconds later, a hand reaches over your shoulder, snatches the empty bowl, and instantly replaces it with a brand new, overflowing dish you never asked for. You tell them, no, thank you, I'm full. They nod, smile, and drop 2 more plates onto your table. You think it's a mistake, so you look around the room. Every single customer is staring at the exact same overwhelming pile of food. Nobody is finishing. Nobody can. It feels like a trap. You are literally being forced into an endless loop of unearned abundance. Why are they doing this? Is it a marketing gimmick? Is it psychological warfare? Before you even get an answer, you leave the city and take a 3-hour train ride south to a town called Jeonju. Walk down a side alley into a traditional tavern called a Magyali house. You expect things to normalize. They don't. It gets significantly worse. You sit down at a scratched metal table. There are no food menus. You simply point to a kettle of traditional rice wine. It costs about $20. You take 1 sip, and then the kitchen explodes. Without a word, the server starts dropping dishes. Pig feet, spicy tofu stew, savory seafood pancakes, steamed pork, fresh oysters, grilled mackerel. You look around for the hidden camera. You ask the guy at the next table, did they mix up my order? He laughs and says, no, just drink your wine. You finish the first kettle. You order a second kettle for another $20. The server walks back out. But they don't just bring more alcohol. They bring an entirely new, even crazier round of free food. Steamed flounder, grilled eel, spicy crab stew. By the third kettle, plates are being stacked 3 layers high. To many visitors sitting there, the math feels completely impossible. You look at the seafood, the meats, the endless bowls, and think, on paper, this place should be bankrupt by next Tuesday. Yet these places have stayed open for decades. How? Because the owner isn't playing the game you think she's playing. To make sense of this insanity, you have to look at what happens when a guest tries to do something very normal in Western dining. Finish every single piece of food on their plate. In America or Europe, a clean plate means, that was delicious. Thank you. In Korea, for centuries, a guest leaving a completely clean plate sent a wave of absolute horror through the host's kitchen. Because to a traditional host, a clean plate didn't mean you enjoyed the meal. It meant one terrifying thing: you are still hungry. It meant the host failed. It meant they ran out of resources. It meant they exposed their own scarcity to a stranger. To understand why that shame is so deep, look at where this nation was just a few generations ago. Korea's history is a brutal timeline of harsh winters, foreign invasions, and extreme poverty culminating in the devastating aftermath of the Korean War in the 1950s. Food was not a guarantee, it was survival. Even today, the most common everyday greeting in Korea isn't "How are you?" It is "밥 먹었어?", which literally translates to "Have you eaten rice?" In a culture where starvation was a recent living memory, exposing bare wood on a dining table was the ultimate humiliation. So, to destroy that shame forever, they created a rule that sounds almost hostile. In its intensity, the table must never surrender. The host's goal isn't to feed you until you are full. The host's goal is to feed you until you physically surrender. If you walk away with food still left on the table, the host finally breathes a sigh of relief. Why? Because the remaining food is physical, undeniable proof that they gave you more than enough. Now, picture what your brain is doing while sitting at that table. In modern society, every transaction is a cold, calculated trade. You give $1, you get $1's worth of value. If someone buys you a $5 coffee, your brain instantly calculates, okay, I owe them a $5 coffee. The ledger is clean. The transaction is closed. But what happens when someone drops 35 dishes in front of you for $20? What happens when a stranger completely overpowers you with an absurd, unmatchable amount of effort? Your mental calculator breaks. You can't measure it. You can't instantly pay it back. You can't sit there with a cold, guarded, distant attitude while a wooden table is physically groaning. Under the weight of a feast prepared specifically for you, your social armor completely falls off. In Korea, they call this emotional state jong. It isn't just hospitality. It is an intentional, aggressive act of generosity that locks two people into a bond they can never fully calculate or repay. By refusing to operate on basic economics, the tavern owner breaks your logical defense. You don't just leave with a full stomach. You leave feeling deeply indebted to a place you just discovered. You leave feeling almost guilty for how much you received. So look at what is actually happening in that room. On one side, you have a world obsessed with micromanaging portions, cutting costs, and calculating every single cent. On the other side, you have a wooden table in Korea, loaded so ridiculously heavy that its joints are literally creaking under the weight of 35 dishes. One world measures everything down to the exact dollar. The other world refuses to measure at all. The next time you sit down across from someone you care about, remember that wooden table. You can keep things neat, minimal, efficient, and perfectly calculated. Or you can completely shatter their expectations. You can flood the space between you until there is no room left for guardrails or distance. Because when you walk away from a meal like that, you won't remember the taste of the food. You won't remember how much it cost. You will only remember one thing. For one single evening, someone refused to let you see the bare wood.